Imagine you are walking home after a long day. You're tired, hungry. All you want is peace. Then, suddenly, someone bumps into you and doesn't even apologize. Your heart starts racing. Your chest tightens. You feel heat rushing to your face. That moment, you're angry. Imagine being stuck in traffic and someone cuts you off. Or your colleague takes credit for your idea. Or your family says something hurtful. These things happen all the time. But have you ever paused and asked yourself, why do I really get angry? What is anger doing to my mind, my body, my life? Have you ever wondered, what if I never got angry again? Not because I suppressed it, but because I genuinely didn't feel it anymore. What if peace was my first reaction, not rage? How would your life change? Think about this. We take care of our food, clothes, and homes, but how often do we take care of our mind? Anger might seem like a normal reaction, but it doesn't just come and go. It lives in us, shapes our choices, and hurts our relationships. Let's take a simple example. A cup of water is clear until stirred. In the same way, our minds are peaceful until something stirs them. But unlike the water, we keep shaking the cup ourselves without realizing it. Welcome to Wisdom Writings, where we explore deep truths in simple ways. In this video series, you'll discover how to live a life free from anger, using timeless wisdom from Buddhism. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So if you find even a small moment of value today, please like, share, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Wisdom Writings. It takes just a second, but it helps us grow and share more peace with the world. Now let's begin. Buddhism teaches that anger is not just an emotion. It's a response to misunderstanding. We often believe that something outside us causes our anger. But in truth, anger begins within. The Buddha compared anger to holding a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. When we understand this, it changes everything. We start seeing anger not as a part of us, but as something we can step away from. Something we can understand, transform, and eventually let go. This journey won't be about controlling your anger with force. It will be about changing your relationship with it. You don't need to fight it. You need to understand it. Because only through understanding can real peace begin. Let's walk this path together. The nature of the mind, seeds of anger in consciousness. The mind is like a garden. It may seem quiet at times, calm and still, but it is never completely empty. Thoughts and emotions arise from the seeds we plant, consciously or unconsciously. Anger, like a weed, grows when we water the seeds of frustration, resentment, or impatience. Imagine waking up in the morning, already feeling tense because you know the day will be full of challenges. You open your phone and see a message that irritates you. Or you hear a conversation that stirs up old memories. And suddenly, before you know it, your mind is filled with frustration. But it didn't happen out of nowhere. That moment of irritation was planted long before it bloomed. What we often forget is that anger is not a sudden outburst. It's a slow buildup, a result of the seeds we've nurtured over time. Maybe it was a conversation you had weeks ago that you couldn't let go of. Maybe it was an unresolved disagreement that stayed in the back of your mind. These moments accumulate, like tiny drops of water that eventually fill a glass. Eventually, one more drop, one more irritation, causes the glass to overflow. But here's the thing. When you understand this, you start to realize that you can change the seeds you plant. Instead of watering the seeds of anger, you can nurture seeds of patience, understanding, and compassion. Every moment is a chance to choose what kind of seeds you want to grow. Buddhism teaches that the nature of the mind is like a mirror. It reflects everything that comes its way, both the pleasant and the unpleasant. But the mirror itself remains untouched. In the same way, our mind is constantly reflecting the world around us. The problem isn't the world or the people in it. The problem is our attachment to the reflections. We see something we don't like, and without realizing it, we become attached to the discomfort of that reflection. We react, we judge, we get angry. But if we could simply see the reflection without becoming attached to it, the anger would have no place to grow. The mind is also like a river. It flows constantly, with new thoughts and feelings arising and passing away. Anger arises like a strong current, pulling us along, sweeping us away. But if we can learn to step back and observe the flow, we don't get caught in it. The current is still there, but we no longer feel powerless against it. We can stand on the riverbank and watch the anger flow past without being carried away. But how do we do this? How do we stop ourselves from getting caught in the current of anger? The first step is awareness. Awareness is like the light that helps us see what's happening in the mind. Without awareness, we're like a person stumbling around in the dark, unaware of the obstacles in our path. But with awareness, we can see the seeds of anger before they grow into a full-blown storm. Awareness doesn't mean trying to stop your thoughts or suppress your emotions. It simply means noticing them, observing them without judgment. When you feel anger rising, don't try to push it away. Instead, ask yourself, where is this anger coming from? What seed am I watering right now? Is this anger based on something real, or is it based on a past memory or assumption? The more you practice awareness, the more you'll begin to see that anger is not a part of your true nature. It is simply a passing feeling, a temporary response to a situation. When you stop identifying with your anger, it loses its power over you. You realize that the anger is not you. It is just something that arises and passes away, like a cloud in the sky. The sky is still there, clear and vast, no matter what clouds pass through it. Another way to look at it is through the lens of impermanence. Everything in life is temporary, including our anger. Just like the weather changes, so do our emotions. The anger you feel right now will not last forever. It may feel intense in the moment, but it will fade. The challenge is learning not to cling to it. When you cling to anger, you are like someone holding on to a burning coal, thinking it will hurt the other person. But in reality, it's you who is getting burned. The Buddha said that the root of suffering is attachment. We are attached to our desires, our expectations, and yes, even our anger. We think that our anger is justified, that it's a way of protecting ourselves or standing up for our rights. But in reality, anger only causes harm. It creates separation between us and others. It keeps us trapped in a cycle of frustration and resentment. But here's the good news. Just as you can plant seeds of anger, you can also plant seeds of peace. Every time you choose not to react with anger, you are planting a seed of calm. Every time you choose to pause, to breathe, to reflect instead of reacting, you are changing the nature of your mind. Over time, these seeds will grow into a garden of peace. And when you look at the world around you, you will see it differently. You will no longer be disturbed by the things that used to trigger you. You will begin to see that everything is temporary and nothing is worth holding on to in anger. In Buddhist practice, this is called mindfulness. Mindfulness is the art of being present in each moment without judgment. It is about seeing things as they are, without getting attached to them. When you practice mindfulness, you become aware of the thoughts and feelings that arise, but you don't identify with them. You realize that you are not your thoughts, and you are not your anger. One of the most powerful ways to practice mindfulness is through meditation. Meditation helps you cultivate a calm, focused mind. It allows you to observe your thoughts without becoming entangled in them. When you meditate, you train your mind to become still, just like the surface of a calm lake. The more you practice, the clearer the lake becomes. The more you observe your thoughts without reacting, the more you realize that anger is just a ripple on the surface. It comes, it goes, and it doesn't define you. But it's not just about meditation. It's about how you live each moment. Every time you feel anger rising, you have a choice. You can either act on it, or you can pause and choose a different response. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes. Eventually, you will find that anger no longer controls you. You will find that peace is your natural state. And when you find peace within yourself, it radiates outward. You become a source of calm for others. You begin to see the world through different eyes, eyes that no longer see enemies or threats, but opportunities for understanding and compassion. When you stop seeing the world as something to fight against, you start seeing it as something to embrace. So, remember this: anger is not your true nature. It is a temporary response, a passing storm. But peace is your true nature. It is always there, waiting for you to reconnect with it. The more you practice awareness, mindfulness, and compassion, the more you will see that anger has no place in your life. As you walk the path of peace, you will find that the seeds of anger can be transformed into seeds of compassion, understanding, and love. And in the end, it is not the anger that defines you, but the peace you choose to cultivate within your heart. Samsara and the cycle of reaction, the real cost of anger. Imagine, for a moment, that you are caught in a never-ending loop. You wake up, live your day, face frustrations, react with anger, feel the sting of that anger, and then repeat it the next day. It's like a wheel, turning round and round, never allowing you to escape. This is the cycle known as samsara. Samsara is the cycle of birth, life, death, and rebirth. But in the context of anger, it's the cycle of reaction, suffering, and rebirth of the same emotions over and over. Every time you get angry, you renew that cycle. You keep spinning the wheel of frustration and pain over and over again, without even realizing it. This cycle is what Buddhism calls samsara, the endless repetition of suffering. In simple terms, every time you get angry, you create more suffering for yourself. You might not see it immediately, but anger leaves a trail. It burns the bridges of your relationships. It clouds your judgment. It fills your mind with tension. Anger poisons not just the moment, but your future. You act in ways that you might later regret, harming others, and, most importantly, yourself. This is the true cost of anger. It's not just a momentary outburst. It's a deepening of the cycle of suffering. In Buddhism, this understanding is key. We are not just the victims of external events or the things that frustrate us. We are also the creators of our own suffering through the way we react. Our anger doesn't just affect the moment. It carries over into our future actions and the way we see the world. Consider this: when you react in anger, you don't just change the immediate situation. You change your mind, your heart, and your future. Every angry thought you have, every moment of frustration, builds upon the last. Over time, it becomes harder and harder to escape from this cycle. Each time you give in to anger, you're like a stone being tossed into a river. The ripples spread outward, affecting everything around you. The Buddha, in his teachings, explained that ignorance is the root of suffering. Ignorance doesn't just mean a lack of knowledge. It means being unaware of how our actions and thoughts create consequences, how they shape the world around us. When we react with anger, we are acting out of ignorance. We are blind to the fact that our anger doesn't help, that it only creates more suffering. But here's the thing: ignorance can be overcome. And the moment we start to see the cycle for what it truly is, the moment we wake up to the fact that we are perpetuating our own suffering, we have the power to break free. The key to breaking the cycle is understanding it. Understanding that anger only adds more weight to our burdens. Now, let's talk about the effects of this cycle. When you hold on to anger, you begin to lose your peace. Your mind becomes cluttered. Every interaction, every person, every moment becomes a potential trigger. You are no longer living freely. Instead, you are at the mercy of whatever triggers your anger, stuck in a state of constant reactivity. Let's say you are in a conversation with someone, and they say something you don't like. In that moment, if you let anger take hold, you no longer hear them with clarity. You don't understand their perspective. You don't see the full picture. All you see is the source of your frustration, the thing that is wrong. But if you can pause, if you can understand the root of your reaction, you might see that it's not about them. It's about you. It's about your response to them. In the Buddhist teachings, This is called mindfulness, becoming aware of your thoughts and emotions without being controlled by them. Mindfulness allows you to step out of the cycle of reaction and see the world with a clearer, more compassionate mind. It's like standing on the edge of the river and watching the ripples instead of being caught in them. This understanding helps us see that our anger isn't something external to us. It's something we carry within. The Buddha taught that all of our suffering comes from within, not from the world outside. When we learn to change the way we respond to life's challenges, we change our experience of the world. You see, samsara is not just a concept for Buddhists to contemplate. It's something we all experience in our daily lives. We all go through cycles of anger, frustration, and suffering. The question is, do we want to stay in that cycle, or do we want to break free? Breaking free from this cycle requires awareness. It requires us to see our anger, not as an enemy, but as a teacher. When we feel angry, we must ask ourselves, what is this anger teaching me? Is it teaching me to react blindly? Or is it showing me that I need to pause, reflect, and choose a different path? In this way, anger becomes an opportunity for growth, not destruction. Instead of letting it control us, we can use it as a tool to learn more about ourselves. We can choose to break the cycle, to step out of the wheel of samsara, and to choose peace instead of reaction. But it takes practice. It takes the courage to face your emotions head-on, without running from them or pushing them away. The Buddha didn't promise that it would be easy. He didn't say that breaking free from samsara would happen overnight. But he did promise that it's possible. And he showed us the path of mindfulness, of awareness, of compassion. So, the next time you feel that spark of anger, pause. Breathe. Don't let it carry you away. Ask yourself, what am I holding on to right now? Is this worth the suffering? Because every time you choose peace over anger, you are breaking the cycle. You are freeing yourself from samsara and stepping into a new way of being. One that's not controlled by the chaos of the world around you, but by the calm of the wisdom within. Remember, the cycle of samsara can only continue if you feed it. Don't feed your anger. Choose peace. Choose clarity. Choose freedom. And step off the wheel. This is the real cost of anger. Not just in the moment, but in the way it shapes our lives, our minds, and our future. Let go of it. Let go of the suffering. And start your journey toward peace today. The Buddhist mirror, seeing yourself without illusion. Imagine, for a moment, you are standing before a mirror. You see yourself clearly, your face, your expression, the clothes you wear. The mirror doesn't lie. It reflects everything. But what if I told you that the way you see yourself in the mirror is not always the way you truly are? In Buddhism, the mind is often compared to a mirror. But this mirror is clouded. It's not reflecting truth as it is. Instead, it's shaped by years of conditioning, past experiences, and countless layers of thought, desire, and emotion. The Buddha taught that to truly see ourselves, we must clear the dust from the mirror of our minds. When you get angry, what do you see in that moment? You might see the person who caused you harm, the situation that triggered your anger. But what if, behind that surface, you were seeing something else entirely? What if that anger is merely a reflection of how you see yourself, not the world around you? Buddhism speaks of self-delusion, the idea that we are constantly creating a version of ourselves that isn't real. It's like looking at that clouded mirror and believing that what you see is the truth. You see yourself as someone who is wronged, someone who is hurt, someone who needs to fight back. But in reality, that image you hold of yourself may not be the true reflection. Anger, in this sense, is a distortion of the mind's mirror. It's like an imperfection in the reflection. The world outside you might be changing, but your internal view remains foggy, clouded by attachments and old patterns. The more you react to anger, the more you reinforce that distorted reflection, further veiling the truth of who you really are. The Buddha's path is about clearing away these illusions, peeling back the layers of false identity we've built over time. It's about seeing ourselves clearly, without judgment or distortion, just as we are. But how do we do that? The first step is recognizing that the anger you feel, whether it's at a person, a situation, or even yourself, is a mirror. It's showing you something within. It's pointing to an area where you've held on to something too tightly. Perhaps it's an expectation, a desire, or a belief that you've held for so long that it's become a part of your identity. And when the world doesn't meet that expectation, when things don't go your way, anger arises. But if you can take a step back, you'll realize that this anger doesn't belong to the world. It belongs to you. It's born from the way you see the world. It's not an external force. It's an internal reaction to what's happening outside. When you begin to understand this, it's like wiping away the fog from the mirror. Suddenly, you can see more clearly. You begin to recognize that your anger isn't a truth about the world. It's a truth about your mind. And once you realize this, you have the power to change your reaction. You can start asking yourself, what is this anger really about? Is it about something that happened right now? Or is it connected to an old wound, an unfulfilled expectation, or a fear that's been with you for a long time? When we get angry, we often forget that anger doesn't solve problems. It only clouds our judgment and keeps us trapped in the same patterns. It's like trying to clean a dirty window by smearing the dirt around. All you do is make things worse. But imagine if you could respond with clarity, with understanding. What if, instead of reacting with anger, you could pause, breathe, and see the situation without judgment? What if you could see your reflection clearly, not as a victim or a warrior, but as a person with the power to choose their response? This is where the Buddhist teachings come in. They show us that by understanding the mind, we can change our reactions. By seeing clearly, we stop being slaves to our emotions and begin to live with freedom. When you look at the mirror of your mind, ask yourself, who am I without my anger? Without my fears, without my expectations, who am I really? The Buddha said, we are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world. This means that everything you experience, your anger, your happiness, your peace, begins with your mind. If you change the way you see yourself, you change the way you see the world. But how do we clear the mirror? How do we see clearly? The key lies in mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. It's like standing in front of the mirror and noticing the fog, the distortions, the smudges, and then, gently, wiping them away. In the practice of mindfulness, you start by observing your thoughts and emotions without reacting to them. You simply notice them. You don't judge them, you don't cling to them, and you don't push them away. You allow them to come and go, like clouds passing through the sky. As you do this, something incredible happens. The mirror of your mind begins to clear. You begin to see yourself more clearly, more honestly. And as your reflection becomes clearer, your reactions change. You no longer feel the need to cling to anger, to hold on to grudges, to fight every battle that comes your way. This doesn't mean that you won't feel anger. Anger is a natural human emotion, but it means that you won't be controlled by it. You won't let it shape your reality. You won't let it cloud your judgment. Instead, you will be able to observe it, understand it, and let it go. When you see yourself clearly, you also begin to see others more clearly. You stop projecting your anger and frustrations onto the people around you. Instead of seeing them as obstacles, you see them as fellow travelers on the same journey. You realize that their actions, just like yours, are shaped by their own clouds of confusion, their own distorted reflections. This is the beginning of compassion. When you see the world through clear eyes, you begin to understand that everyone, including yourself, is struggling with their own distortions. You begin to feel empathy, not judgment. You begin to see that the anger of others is often just a reflection of their own pain and confusion. And in that moment, your heart opens, and the need to retaliate, to fight, fades away. The more you practice, the clearer the mirror becomes. And the clearer the mirror becomes, the more peaceful your life will be. You won't need to fight against anger, because you will see it for what it is, a temporary cloud in an otherwise clear sky. So, when the next time comes and you feel the heat of anger rising, remember, it's not the world that's causing it. It's your own mind. And in that moment, you have the power to change your response. You have the power to clear the mirror and see the world and yourself in a new light. In the end, the Buddhist path is not about avoiding anger. It's about seeing it clearly and letting it go. It's about understanding that anger is not who you are, and when you realize that, it no longer has the power to control you. And when you let go of anger, you find freedom, true freedom, because you are no longer at the mercy of your reactions. You are no longer a prisoner of your thoughts. You are free to live with clarity, with peace, and with love. This is the gift of seeing yourself without illusion. This is the gift of the Buddhist mirror. The power of pausing, training the mind through mindfulness. Imagine, for a moment, that you're walking along a busy street. People rush past, cars honk, and the noise of the world seems to press in on you from all sides. You're carrying your thoughts with you. The stress of the day, the things you still need to do, the worries that never seem to leave. But amidst this chaos, you notice something. You notice the air. You notice your breathing. You feel your feet on the ground. Suddenly, the noise becomes distant, and for just a moment, you are at peace. What changed? Was the world any less chaotic? No, but you stopped for a moment. You paused, and in that pause, you found something. You found the power of the present moment. This is the essence of mindfulness. It's not about stopping the world around you. It's about learning how to pause the storm within. When we talk about anger, mindfulness becomes the tool that can help us pause before we react. It's not a magic cure, but it's a practice that helps us create a space between what happens to us and how we choose to respond. Think of anger as a fire. A spark can start it, and before long, it's a roaring blaze. But what if you could catch that spark before it spreads? What if you could recognize it the moment it began to rise within you? That's where mindfulness comes in. It's the ability to catch yourself before you get swept away by your emotions. So how do you do that? The first step is simply to notice. Notice your breath. Notice the sensations in your body. When something happens that triggers you, when someone says something hurtful, when life doesn't go your way, stop for a second. Take a breath. Feel what's happening inside you. It sounds simple, but it's powerful. This act of pausing gives you the space to decide. It's the difference between reacting automatically and responding with awareness. When you pause, you're not denying your feelings. You're acknowledging them, but you're not allowing them to take over. You are in control. But how do we cultivate this kind of awareness? How do we get better at pausing when life seems to constantly demand our attention? The answer is practice. Just like a muscle gets stronger the more you use it, your mindfulness grows the more you practice it. And the beauty of mindfulness is that you can practice it anywhere, anytime. You don't need to be sitting on a meditation cushion or in a quiet room. You can practice mindfulness while you're walking, eating, working, or even having a conversation. It's all about being present in the moment. Instead of letting your mind wander to the past or future, you bring it back to now. When you feel anger rising, instead of letting it consume you, you pause and observe it. What does it feel like? Where is it coming from? Is it truly necessary to react right now? Or can you simply allow it to pass without feeding it? The key to this practice is patience. You won't always get it right. Anger is a powerful emotion. It's easy to get swept away in the rush of it. But with time and practice, the pauses will become more natural. And eventually, you'll find that anger doesn't take control of you as it once did. Now, this doesn't mean you won't feel anger. You are human, after all. But what mindfulness offers is the ability to choose how you respond to it. It's not about pushing the anger away. It's about recognizing that you are not your anger. It's just a passing storm, and you don't have to let it define you. There's a Buddhist teaching that says, you are the master of your thoughts. This means you have the power to shape your inner world. Mindfulness is the tool that allows you to do this. It's the skill of being present with yourself, of observing without judgment, of allowing each moment to unfold without rushing to react. When you practice mindfulness, you begin to see the world as it is, not through the lens of your anger, fear, or frustration, but with clarity and peace. One of the most powerful aspects of mindfulness is that it helps you see the impermanence of your emotions. Just as clouds pass in the sky, your emotions rise and fall. They don't stay forever. When you pause and observe, you start to realize that anger is temporary. It might feel overwhelming in the moment, but it will pass. And the more you practice mindfulness, the quicker that passing becomes. You begin to notice that anger is not something that has to define you. It's just a wave, and you are the ocean. Mindfulness also teaches us the importance of self-compassion. Sometimes, in our quest to master our emotions, we can be hard on ourselves. We think, I shouldn't feel this way. I shouldn't be angry. But mindfulness shows us that all emotions are part of being human. There's no shame in feeling anger, frustration, or pain. The key is how you handle it. And that's where mindfulness helps us. When you practice mindfulness, you are giving yourself permission to feel your emotions without judgment. You're not suppressing them, but you're also not letting them control you. You are creating space for them, allowing them to come and go without clinging to them. So, how do we make mindfulness a habit in our daily lives? The answer lies in small moments. It's not about trying to be mindful all the time. It's about bringing mindfulness into the moments that matter most. Every time you feel your blood pressure rise, every time you feel the spark of anger, pause. Take a breath. Notice what's happening inside you. Ask yourself, what is the best way to respond right now? With practice, these moments will become second nature. You'll begin to notice your thoughts and emotions before they take over. You'll start to feel more in control of your reactions. And slowly, the cycle of anger will lose its grip on you. This is the power of pausing. It's the simple but profound act of creating space between stimulus and response. It's the practice of being aware of your inner world and choosing how to act in the outer world. Mindfulness is not about eliminating anger, but about transforming how we engage with it. And in doing so, we transform our entire experience of life. When we pause, we remember that we have a choice. We are not at the mercy of our emotions. We are the ones who decide how we respond. And when we choose to respond with calm and clarity, we begin to live in a world where peace isn't something we have to search for. It's something we carry with us, wherever we go. Karma, consequences, and compassionate responses. In life, every action creates a ripple. Every word, every gesture, every thought we have, it doesn't just stay with us. It spreads out into the world, affecting the people around us, shaping our experiences. This is the essence of karma. Many people think of karma as simply a system of rewards and punishments, but in its truest form, karma is about the consequences of our actions. It's the law of cause and effect, playing out in the smallest moments of our lives. But here's something important to understand. Karma is not a punishment. It's not a divine force waiting to strike you down when you do something bad. Karma is simply the natural result of what we put out into the world. If we put out anger, resentment, or hatred, those things will come back to us, often in ways we don't expect. But if we choose compassion, kindness, and understanding, those things too will return to us. Imagine this. You're walking through a crowded street, and someone steps on your foot. You feel the rush of irritation. Maybe you're tempted to snap at them, to let your anger take control. But what if, instead of reacting in anger, you took a deep breath, looked at the person, and chose to show understanding? Maybe they didn't mean to step on your foot. Maybe they were in a rush, lost in their thoughts, or just not paying attention. You don't know their story. By choosing not to react with anger, you're changing the karma of that moment. You're choosing a response that isn't based on the past or on the hurt you might feel, but rather one that reflects your inner peace and understanding. And in doing so, you're also changing the energy around you. Instead of creating a negative reaction, You're creating space for kindness and patience. But don't think that choosing compassion is always easy. In fact, it's often the hardest thing to do, especially when our emotions are high and our impulses want to take over. The anger we feel in these moments feels real and justified. But here's the truth. We are the ones who create the conditions for anger. No one can make you angry. They can do things that might trigger anger, but the decision to become angry is always yours. The Buddha taught that suffering comes from our attachment to our desires and our attachment to things going a certain way. When life doesn't meet our expectations, we suffer. When someone wrongs us, we feel justified in our anger. But that anger only causes more suffering, both for us and for others. It keeps us trapped in a cycle where we react without thinking, and our responses only perpetuate more anger and hurt. This is where understanding karma becomes deeply liberating. When we begin to recognize that we are the ones shaping our experiences through our responses, we take back control. We realize that we can break the cycle of reaction. Instead of reacting with anger, we can pause. We can choose to act with compassion. In every moment, we have the opportunity to change the energy we send into the world. If someone insults us, we can choose to respond with kindness instead of returning their insult. If someone is rude, we can choose to be patient instead of being offended. The next time you find yourself getting angry, take a step back and ask yourself, is this the reaction I want to send into the world? The key here is to understand that our reactions don't just affect the people we are angry at. They affect us, too. Anger, resentment, hatred, all of these emotions eat away at us from the inside. They cloud our judgment, prevent us from thinking clearly, and keep us from experiencing true peace. When we hold on to anger, we are allowing it to consume us. We are feeding the fire instead of extinguishing it. And so, compassion becomes the antidote. Compassion is not just about feeling sorry for others. It's about recognizing their humanity, understanding that they, too, are struggling in their own way. Compassion is a choice to soften our hearts, even when we feel hurt or wronged. It's choosing to see the world with understanding rather than with judgment. When we practice compassion, we create a new type of karma. We begin to break free from the patterns of anger and resentment. We begin to cultivate a deep sense of peace, no matter what is happening around us. And this peace, this calm in the storm, is something we carry with us everywhere we go. It's not dependent on the actions of others. It's a reflection of the inner peace we have cultivated. But here's the thing. Compassion doesn't mean letting people walk all over you. It doesn't mean that you have to accept bad behavior or tolerate injustice. Compassion is not about being passive or weak. It's about responding with wisdom. Sometimes, the compassionate thing to do is to set boundaries. Sometimes, the compassionate thing to do is to speak up or to walk away from a harmful situation. Compassion is about responding in a way that is aligned with your highest values, not based on fear, anger, or resentment. As we grow in our practice, we begin to see that every situation is an opportunity to practice compassion. Whether it's dealing with difficult people, handling stress at work, or simply navigating the challenges of daily life, we have the power to choose our response. And with each compassionate response, we transform the energy around us. We stop feeding the cycle of anger and start creating a ripple of kindness. And remember, this is not a quick fix. This is a practice. It takes time. But with each step, we get closer to a life where we are no longer controlled by our anger, where we are no longer at the mercy of other people's actions or circumstances, where we have the freedom to choose peace. So, next time you feel that familiar rush of anger, pause. Take a breath. And instead of reacting, ask yourself, how can I respond with compassion in this moment? When you start living with this awareness, you will notice something incredible happen. The anger that once ruled your life will begin to fade. You will feel lighter. You will feel freer. You will feel more at peace. And this peace will not only transform your own life, it will transform the lives of those around you. The ripple of your compassionate actions will spread, creating a more peaceful world, one response at a time. This is the power of karma, not as a judgment, but as a gift that allows us to shape our lives, moment by moment, through the choices we make. So choose wisely, choose compassion, and watch how your life begins to change. The practice of equanimity, inner calm in outer chaos. We live in a world that constantly demands our attention. The noise of life, whether it's the rush of daily tasks, the struggles with others, or our own internal chaos, seems unrelenting. Every day we face challenges, frustrations, and misunderstandings. In moments like these, it's easy to feel like we're caught in a storm, helpless against the forces around us. But what if I told you that you don't have to react to every wave that crashes against you? What if there is a way to remain calm, even when the world around you is in turmoil? This is the practice of equanimity, a powerful tool in Buddhism that teaches us to remain balanced, no matter what life throws our way. Equanimity isn't about ignoring our emotions or pretending that everything is fine. It's not about suppressing anger or pretending not to be hurt. It's about understanding that we have the power to choose how we respond to what happens to us. In essence, equanimity is about finding a calm center within ourselves that doesn't get swept away by the storms of life. Imagine you're in a busy street. People are pushing, honking, shouting, and the noise is overwhelming. It's easy to get frustrated, to let the chaos of the world take over your mind. But if you take a step back, breathe deeply, and observe the situation without judgment, something amazing happens. You begin to see the world as it truly is. You start to realize that the external noise doesn't have to control your inner peace. The moment you choose to remain calm, the chaos no longer has power over you. This is the practice of equanimity. In Buddhism, we understand that everything in life is impermanent. The good things, the bad things, the challenges, the successes, they all come and go. Our emotions, too, are fleeting. The anger you feel in one moment may not last forever. The frustration you experience at work may fade as soon as you leave the office. But when we react to these emotions as though they are permanent parts of our identity, we give them more power than they deserve. We let them control us. Equanimity teaches us that we don't have to be at the mercy of our emotions. Just like a calm lake reflects the sky without getting disturbed by the wind, we can learn to reflect the world around us without being disturbed by it. This doesn't mean we stop feeling emotions. Rather, it means we stop allowing our emotions to dictate our actions. The key to equanimity lies in mindfulness. When we practice mindfulness, we become aware of our thoughts and emotions without getting caught up in them. Imagine you're sitting in meditation, your mind is calm, and suddenly a thought pops up. It's a thought of anger. Maybe something someone did to you, something that hurt you deeply. If you're not practicing equanimity, that thought might spiral into a chain of emotions, judgments, and reactions. But if you are practicing equanimity, you can observe that thought without attaching to it. You can acknowledge the anger, but you don't have to act on it. You can simply let it pass, just like a cloud moving across the sky. This is where the wisdom of Buddhism shines. The Buddha taught us that suffering is caused by attachment. When we become attached to our emotions, whether it's anger, frustration, or even happiness, we are giving them the power to define us. But when we learn to detach from our emotions, we free ourselves from their grip. We no longer feel compelled to act out of anger, and we can respond with wisdom and compassion instead. The practice of equanimity is not about being indifferent or cold. It's not about shutting ourselves off from the world or pretending that nothing matters. Rather, it's about finding a place of balance where we can experience life fully without being thrown off course by our emotions. When we practice equanimity, we can be deeply affected by life, but we don't let those effects control our actions or our peace of mind. In every moment, we have a choice. We can either react impulsively to the world around us, or we can choose to pause, reflect, and respond from a place of calm. Equanimity is the art of this pause. It's the ability to slow down, even in the midst of chaos, and make a conscious choice about how to respond. It's the difference between reacting out of anger and responding with wisdom. It's important to remember that equanimity is a practice. It's not something that happens overnight. It takes time and patience. But every time you choose to respond with calmness instead of reacting impulsively, you are strengthening your ability to remain balanced. Over time, you'll begin to notice that situations that once triggered anger or frustration no longer have the same effect on you. You'll begin to see the world with more clarity, and you'll feel more grounded in your own sense of peace. The Buddha often spoke about the middle path, the path between extremes. Equanimity is the embodiment of this middle path. It's not about suppressing emotions, nor is it about being carried away by them. It's about finding the space between reaction and inaction, where we can choose our response with clarity and wisdom. One of the most beautiful aspects of equanimity is that it allows us to be truly present with our lives. When we are caught up in emotional reactions, we are often not truly present. We're either reliving past hurts or worrying about future conflicts. But when we practice equanimity, we learn to stay in the present moment, fully experiencing life as it is, without getting lost in our emotions. This presence brings with it a deep sense of peace. The world around us will continue to be chaotic. People will continue to disappoint us, traffic will remain frustrating, and life will throw challenges our way. But when we cultivate equanimity, we are no longer victims of these external circumstances. We are the masters of our own reactions, and that gives us the power to remain calm no matter what happens. Equanimity also nurtures compassion. When we stop reacting to life with anger or frustration, we become more attuned to the suffering of others. We can approach difficult situations with understanding rather than judgment. We can see that everyone is going through their own struggles, and instead of adding to their suffering with our own emotional reactions, we can respond with kindness and patience. As we continue on this journey of life, we will face many challenges, but we can choose how we respond to them. The practice of equanimity teaches us that we don't have to be controlled by our emotions. We can face life's storms with a calm mind and a peaceful heart. We can learn to navigate the world with wisdom, compassion, and balance. The beauty of equanimity is that it's always available to us. It's not something we need to find outside of ourselves. It's already within us, waiting to be discovered. All it takes is the willingness to pause, to breathe, and to choose a response that comes from a place of peace rather than reaction. So the next time you're caught in the chaos of life, remember this practice. Take a deep breath, step back for a moment, and find that calm center within you. The world may continue to swirl around you, but with equanimity, you will remain steady, grounded, and at peace. The Eightfold Path, a map to mental freedom. Sit down, breathe, listen. You have come a long way already. You have seen what anger really is. You have seen how it rises like a fire from within. You've started to understand that peace is not something outside. It's something already inside you, waiting to be uncovered. Now, let me tell you something very old, very true, very quiet. There is a path walked by millions before you, a path that leads away from suffering, away from confusion, away from anger. The Buddha walked it, not because someone told him to, but because he saw clearly. He saw what causes pain, and he saw how to end it. This path is not a rule. It's not a punishment. It's not something you must obey like a law. It is more like a map, a guide, a gentle hand on your back, showing you where to go if you wish to walk in peace. It is called the Eightfold Path, not because it is hard, but because it has 8 simple directions, 8 steps that bring your heart back to its natural place. Let's walk slowly, one step at a time. No rush. The first step is about seeing clearly. We call it right view. What does this mean? It means you begin to see things as they truly are, not as your anger tells you, not as your fear wants you to believe. You see that nothing is truly permanent. Everything changes. Every moment passes. Anger, too, comes and goes. It's not you. It's not forever. When you see this, your grip begins to loosen. The second step is right intention. You wake up each day and ask yourself, what is my purpose today? Do I want to hurt? Do I want to heal? When your heart sets its intention toward peace, it begins to live differently. Anger cannot survive in a mind that is honest, kind, and calm in its purpose. The third step is about words. Yes, simple words. Right speech. Speak gently. Speak truthfully. Speak to heal, not to harm. When you yell, gossip, or lie, you throw stones into still water. It disturbs not only others, but your own heart. Speak as if each word is a thread, sowing peace into the world. The fourth step is right action. Your actions matter. What you do with your hands, your feet, your body, it leaves a mark. Anger often pushes us into action too fast. Hitting, throwing, breaking, hurting. But if you pause, just pause, you can act with care instead. You can move in a way that creates calm, not chaos. The fifth step is right livelihood. This may sound big, but it's simple. It means, do not live in a way that harms others. If your job, your work, your daily tasks are full of lies, cruelty, or greed, your heart will never find peace. Choose a way of living that doesn't poison your soul. Then, your anger will have no place to grow. Now we come to something very special. The sixth step is right effort. Not force, not pressure, effort. It means gently guiding your mind away from what's harmful and toward what's helpful. When anger starts to rise, don't fight it. Just notice it, breathe, and bring your attention back to peace. Like training a small plant to grow straight, not wild. It takes time, but it works. Seventh is right mindfulness. This is the art of paying attention to your breath, to your feelings, to your thoughts, not judging, just noticing. When you are mindful, anger can't take over you without being seen. And when you see it, truly see it, it begins to lose its power. The last step is right concentration. This is when your mind becomes still, clear, like a calm lake, not distracted, not pulled in every direction. You are fully here, fully now. When your mind is like this, anger cannot land in it. It slips away, like a bird trying to land on water that ripples just enough. All of these steps are connected. They are not separate roads. They are like spokes on a wheel. When the wheel turns, your life turns too. The path begins to carry you, gently, surely, away from the fire of anger and into the coolness of peace. But I must tell you something very honest. This path is not fast. It is not a shortcut. It is not magic. It is a slow, steady walk. Some days, you will feel peace. Some days, you will still feel anger. That is okay. That is human. The path doesn't ask for perfection. It only asks for presence, for honesty, for kindness toward yourself. Each time you fall, stand up again. Each time you forget, remember again. Each time you feel the fire of anger, breathe, and return to the path. Do not be discouraged. Even the Buddha, before he awakened, fell many times. He tried many things. He struggled too, but he kept walking. And because he kept walking, he reached the place where anger could no longer live. You, too, can reach that place. Every time you choose to breathe instead of shout, every time you choose to walk away instead of strike, every time you choose to forgive instead of feed the fire, you are walking the path. The Eightfold Path is not something you finish like a race. It is something you live, day by day, word by word, step by step, and slowly, like dawn breaking over a mountain, you will see the light. Not outside, inside. And you will know, this path is not only about never getting angry again. It is about remembering who you truly are when you are not covered in anger. And who you are is peace, loving kindness and metta, transforming hatred into healing. Breathe slowly. Let the noise of the world fall away, just for a few minutes. You've walked far on this path. You've explored your anger, your mind, your habits, your silence. And now, you've arrived at the place where something very soft, very powerful, is waiting. It is called metta. In simple words, it means loving kindness. Not romance, not liking someone, but a deep, warm feeling in your heart, wishing well to yourself and to others, even the ones who once hurt you. Let me tell you something that many people forget. Anger cannot be destroyed by anger. It's like trying to wash dirt with more dirt, or trying to calm a fire by throwing fire into it. It doesn't work. You'll only burn more. You'll only hurt more. But loving kindness, it is water. Cool, fresh, gentle water. When someone has made you angry, when they've said something cruel, when they've betrayed you, misunderstood you, judged you, what do you usually do? You carry the pain. You replay their words. You imagine what you should have said. You hold the anger like a stone in your chest, sometimes for days, weeks, or even years. And the whole time, they may not even know. Metta is not weakness. It is the strongest power the heart can hold. Because to feel kindness when you are hurt is not easy. To wish peace for someone who caused you pain, that takes deep courage. And yet, this is the path to healing. You cannot carry anger forever and expect to feel free. Even if you are right, even if they were wrong, even if they never apologized. Freedom does not come from winning. It comes from releasing. Let's go deeper. In Buddhism, we say, hatred does not cease by hatred. Hatred ceases by love. This is an eternal law. It means that no matter how wrong someone is, your anger toward them cannot end the cycle. It can only continue it. And if they are angry too, then you both become trapped, tied together by invisible chains. But if one of you lets go, just one, then those chains begin to break. So how do we practice metta? First, we begin with ourselves. Many people find it easier to be kind to others than to themselves. But that's not real peace. If your own heart is hard toward you, then your kindness to others will be hollow. So sit quietly, place your hand on your heart, and say, may I be happy. May I be peaceful. May I be free from suffering. Say it not like a command, but like a wish, like you are whispering to a dear friend. May I be happy. Not perfect, not always right, just happy. Then slowly, you extend it to someone you love. Picture their face. Let your heart speak again. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. May you be free from suffering. Then to someone neutral, maybe a neighbor, a shopkeeper, someone you barely know. And then, yes, even to someone you dislike. It's not about pretending they didn't hurt you. It's about not letting their action poison your spirit. Because the anger you hold does not punish them. It only punishes you. You don't have to tell them. You don't have to become close. But in your quiet heart, you can wish for their healing. May you be free from suffering. Because people who hurt others are hurting too. That doesn't excuse their actions, but it explains the roots. No one who is deeply at peace goes around hurting others. People lie, steal, insult, and betray because they are lost. They are wounded. Sometimes, their pain is buried so deep, they don't even know it's there. But when you recognize this, your heart softens. You begin to understand, they are not the enemy. Suffering is the enemy. The Buddha taught that loving kindness is like the light of the sun. It shines on all beings, without picking favorites. It shines on the thorn bush and the rose, the wise and the foolish, the kind and the cruel. And when your heart becomes like that sun, you begin to feel something you may not have felt in a long time. Real peace. Not the peace that comes from quiet surroundings, or from everything going your way, but the peace that lives inside you, even when the world is loud, even when life is unfair. That is the power of metta. Let me tell you a short story. Once, a monk was insulted by a man every day. He would spit near the temple gate, mock the monk, and say cruel things. But the monk never reacted. One day, a disciple asked the monk, "Why don't you ever respond to him?" The monk smiled gently and said, If someone offers you a gift, but you do not accept it, who does the gift belong to? The disciple thought for a moment. It still belongs to the one who offered it. Exactly, said the monk. And I did not accept his anger. This is not a trick. This is wisdom. The monk was not suppressing his feelings. He had simply trained his heart to not carry what wasn't his. And in its place, he filled his mind with compassion. You see, loving kindness isn't about becoming someone else. It's about uncovering what's already there. Beneath your anger, beneath your pain, is a deep well of compassion. You were born with it, but life may have made you forget. Now, it's time to remember. Even when others don't understand you, you can send them metta. Even when you make mistakes, you can send yourself metta. Even when life breaks your heart, you can choose to keep it open. This is not always easy, but it is always possible. In moments of frustration, you can pause, breathe, and whisper in your heart, "May all beings be free from suffering. May I be free too." This small act begins to shift your mind, and day by day, the habit of anger starts to lose its power. In its place, a new energy rises, quiet, strong, and gentle. It flows through you, and others begin to feel it too. You may not change the world overnight, but you will change the space around you. You will walk through life like a calm river, soft, but unstoppable. So sit again, feel your breath, and silently repeat, "May I be happy. May I be peaceful. May I be free from suffering. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be free from suffering." This is the path of metta. This is how you heal anger, by watering the seeds of kindness in your own heart. You are not here to fight the world. You are here to bring peace to it. And it begins with you. Let's walk on. Liberation, living free from anger, living fully alive. The journey we began together has been long, but it's not an end. It's a new beginning. A beginning that takes us beyond anger, beyond suffering, and into the peace that comes from understanding. So, let's ask ourselves now, what does it truly mean to be free from anger? Freedom from anger is not just about having a moment of calm when something happens that usually makes us furious. It's not about trying to suppress it or push it away. Real freedom comes from deep understanding, a place where anger has no hold on you, where your mind doesn't get stirred up and tossed around by external events. It comes from realizing that, just like everything else in life, anger is not permanent. It is not the truth of who you are. Let me take you deeper into this understanding. When you have the wisdom to see that anger is a reaction, not a truth, you stop identifying with it. You are not the anger. You are not the rage that rises when someone cuts you off in traffic. You are not the frustration that fills you when a project doesn't go as planned. Those are simply experiences passing through your mind. You are not them. Imagine, if you will, standing on the edge of a river. The water flows swiftly, carrying leaves, twigs, and debris. You are watching from the bank, and you see it all, but you are not swept away by the current. You observe the river, but you do not jump in and get caught up in it. This is how your mind can be when you understand anger. You don't need to be swept away by it. You can watch it, understand it, and then let it flow away. And here's the beauty of it. This is how we can truly begin to live a life free from anger. It's not about avoiding life's challenges or pretending that we won't ever be upset. Life will happen. People will disappoint us. Things won't go the way we hope. But what changes is how we react. When you practice mindfulness, when you truly begin to understand the teachings of the Buddha, you realize that anger is not the solution to any problem. It only keeps us tied to more suffering. Do you remember the story we started with in part 1? The bump in the street, the traffic jam, the rude colleague? All these situations are like the river, flowing with their noise, pushing us to react. But now, with the understanding you've gained, you begin to see these situations with different eyes. They are just waves in the river. They are not the river itself. And when you stop identifying with those waves, you begin to live freely. Freedom from anger doesn't come from trying to control your emotions. It comes from seeing that they don't need to control you. It comes from understanding that your true nature is peace. Anger is like a storm in the sky. The sky itself is never angry. It is vast and calm, no matter what happens below. You are like the sky. Anger, frustration, and hatred are clouds passing by. They may come, but they cannot touch you if you don't give them permission. The Buddha spoke of liberation from suffering, but liberation doesn't mean an escape from life. It doesn't mean you will never feel upset again. It means that, no matter what happens, you will always return to your center, to your peace, to your true nature. When you are no longer angry, you have space to be compassionate. When anger is gone, there is room for understanding, for kindness, and for love. Anger clouds your vision. It shuts your heart. But when you let go of anger, your mind is clear and your heart is open. This doesn't mean you'll become a doormat or allow people to treat you poorly. It doesn't mean that you'll never stand up for yourself. It simply means that your actions will come from a place of wisdom and compassion, not from a reactionary place of pain. Your words, your choices, will be guided by peace. And when you do respond, you will respond with understanding, not with anger. To live without anger is to live with freedom. Freedom to choose your responses. Freedom to find peace in every moment, regardless of the storm that may be raging around you. To live without anger is to experience life fully, without the heaviness of resentment, bitterness, or frustration weighing you down. And when you can live like that, you can truly live freely. But remember, this is a practice. It's not something that happens overnight. Just like learning to ride a bicycle or mastering a musical instrument, it takes patience. It takes practice. It takes a willingness to fail and get back up again. You will have moments when anger will rise, and that's okay. The key is to notice it, to observe it, and to choose not to act on it. Slowly, over time, you'll notice that the anger doesn't come as often, and when it does, it passes more quickly. One of the greatest gifts of practicing the teachings of Buddhism is that you begin to live life with a new perspective. You begin to see people not as sources of your frustration, but as fellow travelers on this journey. You begin to understand that everyone has their own suffering, and the things they do are often a result of their own struggles. And when you see this, your heart softens. You no longer feel the need to defend your ego. You don't need to prove that you are right or that someone else is wrong. You can simply be at peace, knowing that your happiness is not tied to the actions of others. So, now, ask yourself, what would your life be like if you never got angry again? What would it be like to experience each day with a mind that is clear, calm, and compassionate? Imagine waking up every morning with a sense of gratitude, not irritation. Imagine facing challenges with a smile instead of frustration. Imagine your relationships filled with understanding and love, instead of conflict and resentment. This is the power of living free from anger. This is the life that awaits you. As we end this journey, remember, anger is not your enemy. It's not something to fight against. It is simply a sign that something inside you needs attention. When you understand it, when you transform it, you open up the possibility for a life that is full of peace, love, and joy. In the end, the Buddhist teachings remind us that true freedom is not found outside of us, but within us. It's not in changing the world or changing the people around us. It's in changing how we respond to the world and to the people around us. When you stop reacting with anger, you begin to live a life of true freedom. And when you live free from anger, you can finally live fully alive. So, I leave you with this final thought. Every moment is a new opportunity to choose peace over anger, love over hate, and wisdom over ignorance. The choice is yours. What will you choose? And as you walk forward on your path, remember, you are the sky, and the clouds of anger will pass. Stay grounded, stay peaceful, and live free. Now, take a deep breath and let that sink in. You are free.